Well, glory be and mercy me. We've done it yet again. Here we are on the graveyard walk. You'll notice I'm here with fellow associate Rob McBean. He's running for city council here in Toronto, and he's gonna win. I tell you. So today we wanted to talk about, and Rob wanted to talk about. He's got a little something prepared. He's got a script right here. Look at him. He's all prepared. Isn't that wonderful?
I don't wing it.
Yeah, he prefers to be prepared, unlike someone like myself. What we are talking about today is violence is a form of self-defense, and when a society can actually begin defending itself in such a way. This makes sense to me to be talking about this, given the situation that's occurring on the bridges, the declaration of the Emergencies Measures Act by Justin Trudeau. These protesters that are taking over these bridges, one of the things that has clarified for me over the last little while is, sure, we can disagree ideologically. We can even disagree with them in terms of their goals for this particular protest. But what we can't disagree with is the reality that these people are desperate. These people have had their livelihoods stripped away from them. They don't know what else to do. And if a system is stripping away someone's livelihood, that is akin to killing them. That they have to fight back, and they've chosen the way to fight back very powerfully, locking down crucial infrastructure, locking down these sorts of things, because they find themselves in a position where the society has stripped them of their ability to actually take care of themselves. And if you're in a society that's doing this, that's making it so that you cannot get access to food, so that you cannot get access to shelter, well, in my view, it's completely reasonable that a person would take up arms and perhaps do things that would be considered outside the framework of legal. We've all seen Robin Hood, right? Anybody here think Robin Hood is a villain? I don't. And why? Because the society that he was operating within no longer supported him. That when Robin Hood picked up arms to fight against Prince John and the Sheriff of Nottingham, we understand that it is an act of self-defense. And we have to begin talking and asking in very serious ways, at what point do we need to defend ourselves against a system that is structuring itself to abandon us? I'm going to let Rob have a chat on this. Off you go, Rob.
Thanks, John. So whenever we talk about violence, I think we should start by talking about morality, like what's right and what's wrong. I mean, you could make the argument for pacifism, that it's wrong for poor people to defend themselves from the rich, that it's evil for the poor to use force against the rich to alleviate their poverty. Yeah, you could make that argument, maybe even successfully, maybe 110 years ago. But as soon as the capitalists decided that they were going to start World War I, the war to end all wars, by the way, all that morality stuff just went out the window. When they told us that the working class's job was to go die in the mud, in the trenches, die of dysentery, trench foot, machine gun fire, mustard gas, and mortars. When they told us that we were going to go and do this, die by the tens of millions, so they could redraw lines on the map, all that pacifism stuff just went right out the window. So the question of self-defense and the use of force against the capitalist death cult, it's not a moral question. It's a tactical one. It's not a question of right or wrong or good or evil. It's a question of if, where, when, and how. Lenin, Stalin, and Trotsky, they knew this over 100 years ago. So we have a right to defend ourselves from police and fascist attacks. We have a right to use force to secure the basic necessities of our life: food, shelter, clean water, healthcare, mental health. We have the right to violently repel scabs and fascists wherever they show themselves. So if we're not going to be pacifist anymore, what are we going to be then? I think that we can be non-violent while also not being cringing pacifists. So non-violence to me just means that any force that we do use is used for the purpose of stopping more violence. Now, self-defense and violence takes different forms, and they all need their own approach. Now, since our approach to using force is tactical and not moralistic, let's look at the tactics for the different situations. Let's go from the biggest to the smallest. From worldwide conflicts, total global war, all the way down to just you walking down the street and being attacked. Now, the last total world war that we had ended 77 years ago. Now, in World War II, Britain, the Revolutionary Party developed the proletarian military policy for the British working class. It would have been wrong to try to pacify the British people away from their instinctive desire to smash Nazism. It would have been equally wrong, though, to let them believe that the capitalist class was the rightful leader of the war on Hitlerism. The party told the workers to take up arms and exert their righteous fury. They were also shown at the same time the hypocrisy of British capitalism, which even briefly allied with Nazi collaborators to murder communists in Greece in 1944. The workers were also told that Hitler could only be defeated by the power of the working class. The capitalist class and their war generals were powerless by themselves. So the tactic in time of total global war is to fight for the oppressed while teaching the masses to have no confidence whatsoever in their own ruling class, to make the mass of people see that all the power already lies in our own hands, that we need to become conscious of this and to start exercising that power. So let's take it down a step from global conflict down to regional, national conflicts. These, by the way, are a never-ending feature in late-stage capitalism. Rwanda, former Yugoslavia, Syria, Ukraine, the list goes on. There was a hugely successful revolution in the Sudan very recently. The Sudanese People's Uprising was about to completely overthrow a military dictatorship of Omar al-Bashir in 2019. The only way the Sudanese establishment could keep power was by using naked, direct, brutal force. Omar al-Bashir's war generals put together a militia to massacre the Sudanese people, who were seizing power through general strikes and mass sit-ins. Now, the leaders of the civilian movement, they didn't arm the working class to defend against this terror. Instead, they accepted a power-sharing agreement, which had some features of regular capitalist democracy. A civilian prime minister was elected. Then last year, a new military dictatorship seized power by force, again, killing many. The only way to defend any democratic or revolutionary gains is with an armed populace. Self-defense committees ready to fight any militias that come forward. Pacifism is poison, a recipe for the worst defeats. Okay, let's step down again to a more local level. Picket lines and demonstrations. They can come under attack from scabs, reactionaries, and cops. Fascists might try to organize their own demonstrations. An attempt by scabs to cross a picket line is an attack. Same goes for counter-protesters or fascists who show up at progressive demonstrations. If the scabs, counter-protesters, or fascists don't have cops to protect them, they can easily be repelled with minimal force. If they do have a cop escort, it is incorrect to use force against the police directly. The tactic for defeating cops is not to engage them in direct combat, but rather to identify them in civilian life, target them, ostracize them, and confront them in civilian life. Identify who their contacts are in the civilian community and target those contacts for the same treatment. If reactionaries try to organize their own actions, we saw just the other day how to defeat them in practice. In Ottawa, the Flu Trucks clan had a convoy of supplies being brought in to sustain them. They were shut down and repelled, not by cops, but by the people of Ottawa. Ottawa kettled the Flu Trucks convoy. The workers acknowledged to the truckers that the government had failed them. We explained to the clan that the solutions are things like paid sick days, higher minimum wage, fixing employment insurance, nationalizing long-term care, more and better jobs. In a word, all of the things that would have made COVID and vaccine mandates unnecessary in the first place. The clan convoy was allowed to leave one truck at a time, but only after they had removed all racist, hateful, and anti-public health signs from their trucks. Now, just to wrap up, let me take it down to the most local level, the personal level. You're walking down the street and you're attacked. It could be for being who you are, your politics, your skin color, your gender identity, or your sexuality. It could be about money or robbery. In these cases, your body will naturally enter into a fight or flight physical reaction. Now, flight is always the right choice. Street fights tend to be very quick, very dirty, and they can end very badly. This is where physical fitness and training comes into play. Merely being fit will keep most of these kinds of attacks away from you in the first place. And fitness will get you out of the situation quickly and safely. Fitness will keep you out of situations where you have to go begging the capitalist cops for protection, or to try and get a tiny little shred of what passes for justice in our capitalist society. Thanks, John.
Well, thank you for that, Rob. And it's worth pointing out something I've been dwelling on these last few days about these protests and the declaration of the Emergency Act. The Trudeau administration didn't even go and speak with these truckers, didn't even go and actually have a conversation, didn't engage in negotiation, didn't ask them what they thought, didn't actually talk to them. So what this is a situation where we have a government that's made it very clear that the lever that they're going to reach for first is not conversation, but violence. When we find ourselves in this situation, we have to have the important adult conversations about what should be done if such forces turn against us as well. All right, guys, this is going to be the end of this video. Always remember, you are a quantum being walking around in quantum energy. The billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars to try and make it so you never realize what's going on and that you stay the happy little commodity that you are. Rebel, revolt, repent. Good luck. We're gonna need it.